Welcome to Out Motorsports, the channel for cars as you are. My name is Jake, and I'm here with the 2022 GMC Hummer EV Edition 1 pickup. I've already posted a full video review of this truck on the channel. It is right up here. However, it has a trailer hitch. It is rated to pull 7,500 pounds with a 1,300 pound payload. And what good is all that if you don't actually try it out? So let's hook up my 20-foot enclosed trailer that comes in right about 6,800 pounds and talk about how this Hummer EV is to tow with. Now, some quick specs on this 2022 Hummer EV pickup. You've got 1,000 horsepower and 1,200 pound-feet of torque being delivered through 3 electric motors, 1 on the front axle and 2 on the rear. It's got adaptive suspension so it can get stiffer in different drive modes, and it's got variable height suspension via a set of airbags on each corner. So that is what you've got. The other nice thing you've got going on here is 4-wheel steering. Like I mentioned in the other video, you can do crab walk, which of course is a cool party trick, but otherwise the rear wheels can turn opposite to help with maneuverability, and they can turn in tandem to kind of help you with lane changes, that sort of thing. So let's get behind the wheel of this 2022 Hummer EV with my trailer and see how it tows. All right, so talking about how the 2022 Hummer EV pickup tows a trailer. So my trailer is 20 feet long. It is enclosed, as you can see. I've got a BMW race car back there, and it weighs about 6,800 pounds all loaded up. So we're within the Hummer EV's stated tow capacity of 7,500 pounds. Now, the thing that I'm really curious about here is the range of this truck and the efficiency of this truck. I'm not going to run it till the battery runs out because I don't have time. I'm very sorry, but I did reset the trip odometer and economy meter to see what kind of range it'll do while we're towing it, 60 miles an hour. So as far as stability and acceleration and braking and all that stuff, let's talk about that first, get some miles on it to see what the economy looks like. But acceleration is no big deal. This has all the power and torque in the world, and the beauty of electric trucks towing is that they're just simply unbothered by it. There's no gears to deal with. There's, all your torque is available from nothing, and this, just drama-free, absolutely no big deal getting up to highway speeds there. Barely put my foot into it, and we're cruising. No big deal. Super, super easy. Stability-wise, this is not the longest trailer in the world, but this is probably the biggest thing you would pull with a truck like this. This has a really long wheelbase for how big the vehicle is. It's a little bit bigger than a Chevy Tahoe. It's a little shorter than a Chevy Suburban, but it's got a longer wheelbase than a Tahoe by a good bit. So this is almost a 136-inch wheelbase, which really, really contributes to stability of the truck and trailer when you're doing something like this. My personal tow vehicle is a Porsche Cayenne that's got 114 inches of wheelbase by comparison, and then that Tahoe that I mentioned would be somewhere in the mid 120 inch range. So, the wheelbase is going to be the biggest thing helping with stability. Other thing, when you put this in tow mode, your drive mode dial's down here. It will do some different things as far as changing the steering, the shock damping, the valving, and what the air suspension does. So everything feels pretty good here. Now, I mentioned in my regular review, I didn't love the mirrors on this truck. I feel like I'm always kind of adjusting them to see everything, and I still feel that way with a trailer, although this has the same sort of tech that the other GMC trucks do, in that it's got cameras looking down the sides, and when you put your turn signal on, it will actually show you a view all the way down the side of the truck and most of the trailer. So kind of nice, you do get that, and that helps substantially with changing lanes, even if your mirrors are not super duper big. Now, as I slow down here, I am off the throttle. In tow mode, we're still getting regenerative braking, which I love because it helps dump some energy back into the battery. If you're going down a big hill, as I did in my F-150 Lightning tow test, you can actually increase your range that way because you're dumping so much energy back into the battery with all the weight of the trailer and the truck combined. This is a soft vehicle in general when you are, talking about anything, just general driving, unloaded driving. It wants to pitch and roll and all that, but in tow mode, it just feels like it really stiffens up, feels really, really nice, and I do appreciate what they've got here because it's very stable at highway speed. And everything else going on in here, like I said, these cameras are really, really nice, and that's kind of the standard GMC truck operating system and software going on for all your tow tech. Everything else is the same as well. So it asks you some questions when you plug the trailer in. You can set everything up for your light check. If you have the camera system wired up, you can use that. And you know, it will do Super Cruise with a trailer hooked up. That's one of the best things about the new Chevy and GMC trucks with Super Cruise is they work while towing officially, and they do it really, really well. If you want to see how that works, I'll post a link to a video up here or here with me using a GMC Sierra Denali Ultimate and Super Cruise to tow basically hands-free to and from the racetrack, which was almost 600 miles. That was very cool. Now, the one thing that I don't like about this Hummer EV when it's unloaded and I'm, you know, just driving through an off-ramp or something is how the steering gets really heavy. And I think it's a mix of tires and how the power steering is programmed. I think it's more tires than anything. It does it even with a trailer, of course. Do I like that? No, it's not the most confidence-inspiring thing. As far as body control, when we're on these back roads, things are a little less smooth than a highway. Everything is really, again, nicely controlled, nicely damped. Really nothing to complain about here. This is a very good towing experience, as you would expect with something with this big of a wheelbase and all the fancy suspension technology. It's impressive with what they've got going on. Now, the more I drive, the trip-o-meter here, the guess-o-meter is refining itself, and currently we're sitting at 0.9 miles per kilowatt hour. I suspect that will continue to go down the more I drive. Like I said, this is a kind of a quick and dirty test, not a full out and back somewhere. But if you assume roughly 50% of your efficiency is lost, just like you would get with a gas-powered vehicle or a diesel-powered vehicle, how many miles could you expect out of this truck? Well, it's rated for 329 miles on a full charge. I'm terrible at math. That would be, 160 something miles. That's doable. It would be very similar to my Ford F-150 Lightning test, in which I was able to math my way to about 120 miles of range with that truck. So very similar. You know, the Hummer EV is rated at very similar range to the F-150 Lightning. It's just a lot less efficient, but they compensate for that by using a much bigger battery pack. So I would assume that you could get very similar results, because the interesting thing with towing in general is that you're dragging a big box in the air. You know, you're not going to get efficient driving no matter what, and your range is going to go down as it would with a gas-powered vehicle or a diesel-powered vehicle. So as far as how it all, you know, how the math all works out, the issue is not so much in that, oh, it's an electric truck. It's that the energy density on board is not really enough to support long-distance towing. In the case of the F-150 Lightning, that's got a 131 kilowatt-hour battery pack on the long-range truck, and that is the equivalent amount of energy to carrying 4 gallons of gasoline with you. So obviously the Hummer EV has a bigger tank, but it's less efficient. But how far, if you took a gas-powered, let's say a 6.2-liter Sierra 1500, how far could you tow on 4 to 7 gallons of gasoline with a 6.2 powered V8 truck? Not that far. So think about that when you're talking about the range of an electric truck like this Hummer EV. That is why you're not going to get the huge range, despite it having a lot of range unloaded. If you're wanting a Hummer EV and you need to tow under 100 miles at a time or 110 miles at a time, would it do it? Absolutely. Would it do well at it? I think so. It's just if you're trying to do those long road trips, like whenever I'm towing somewhere, it's to a racetrack where I'm trying to put some miles on something and just keep moving, this is not going to be that girl for you. But really, no electric truck is going to do that right now. The tech is not there. All right, that is it for this review of towing with the 2022 Hummer EV Pickup Truck Edition 1. Thank you so much for coming along. As always, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe right here on YouTube. Whether you like the truck or not, whether you like the video or not, please leave some feedback. We would love to read it and maybe respond in a slightly snarky manner. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Out Motorsports. And if you'd like to connect with other fellow LGBT automotive enthusiasts and motorsports competitors, head over to outmotorsports.com. We have a whole group over there who would love to meet you, get to know you. Till next time, please stay safe, be well, and we will see you again soon.